happened 2 summers ago. I was 20 and spending the weekend alone at my parents' house while they were out of town. It was a small, cozy home in the suburbs, where nothing bad ever seemed to happen. At least, not until that night. It started as an ordinary evening. I'd made myself a bowl of popcorn and curled up on the couch, binging a true crime documentary. It was around 10 p.m. when I first heard it, a faint thump. I paused the TV. The sound had come from upstairs. I told myself it was probably just the house settling or maybe the wind rattling a window. But deep down, something felt off. I turned the TV volume down and listened carefully. Silence. Shrugging it off, I pressed play and tried to refocus on the show. Then I heard it again, another thump, this time louder. It sounded like it came from my bedroom. My heart started to race. Was it just my imagination or was someone upstairs? Have you ever heard a strange noise at night and convinced yourself it was nothing? But what if it wasn't? Grabbing my phone, I decided to check things out. I switched on the flashlight and headed up the stairs, each creak of the steps echoing in the quiet house. When I reached my bedroom door, I noticed it was slightly ajar. I was sure I had closed it earlier. My stomach churned, but I pushed the door open. The room was empty. I let out a shaky laugh, feeling silly for overreacting. But then, I noticed something that made my blood run cold. My closet door was open too. I never leave my closet door open. I froze, staring at the dark space inside. My flashlight beam barely pierced the shadows. "Is someone there?" I whispered, my voice trembling. No answer. I reached out and slowly slid the door open all the way. The closet was empty. I laughed nervously, shaking my head. "You're scaring yourself for no reason," I thought. I closed the closet door firmly and decided I'd had enough excitement for the night. I went back downstairs, double-checking all the locks on the way. I had just settled back on the couch when I heard it. A soft creak, like someone stepping on the floorboards upstairs. My heart stopped. I grabbed a kitchen knife and called the police, whispering into the phone. They told me to stay on the line and wait outside. I ran out the front door, trembling as I stood barefoot on the lawn, watching the house. When the police arrived, they searched the house thoroughly. At first, they found nothing. Then, one of the officers called out from my bedroom. There, hidden behind a stack of clothes in the closet, was a man. He had been hiding there the whole time. The officer told me later that the man had likely entered through an unlocked back door earlier in the day. He'd been in the house for hours, waiting. Saturday night, and I was home alone for the first time in months. My roommates had all gone out for the weekend, leaving me with the house to myself. It felt great at first, peaceful, quiet, but that peace didn't last long. Around 9 p.m., I was in the kitchen making a snack when I heard the faint sound of a door creaking upstairs. I froze. It was such a soft sound that I almost dismissed it, thinking it was just the house settling. But then it happened again. I put my plate down and walked toward the stairs, calling out, "Hello? Is anyone there?" Silence. I laughed nervously, trying to convince myself it was nothing. "It's just the wind or something," I muttered. I went back to my snack and turned on the TV, trying to shake off the uneasy feeling. About half an hour later, I was lying on the couch, scrolling through my phone, when I heard it again. This time, it wasn't a creak. It was a distinct thump, like something heavy falling to the floor upstairs. My stomach churned. I grabbed a flashlight and headed up the stairs, each step feeling heavier than the last. When I reached the top of the stairs, I noticed something odd. My bedroom door, which I'd left closed, was slightly open. My pulse quickened. I hesitated, then slowly pushed the door open. The room was empty. I checked the windows, both locked. I sighed with relief, thinking maybe something had fallen off the shelf, but then I saw it. There were faint, muddy footprints on the carpet. They led from my closet to the door. My heart stopped. I stared at the closet, the door slightly ajar. "Who's there?" I called out, trying to sound braver than I felt. No response. Summoning every ounce of courage, I yanked the closet door open. It was empty. I was shaking now, every instinct telling me to leave the house. But before I could move, I heard it. A low, raspy breath coming from the hallway. I spun around, and for a split second, I saw him. A man, wearing a dark hoodie, his face partially covered, was standing at the top of the stairs, staring at me. I screamed and ran into the bathroom, locking the door behind me. My hands trembled as I called 911. I whispered to the operator, trying not to make a sound. The minutes felt like hours. I heard the creak of floorboards outside the door, then silence. When the police arrived, they found the back door wide open. The man was gone, but they discovered a knife he'd left behind on the stairs. It happened last winter, during my first year of college. My parents were away on a weekend trip, and I decided to stay home to catch up on studying. It was a cold, quiet Saturday night, and I'd just settled into the living room with my laptop and a cup of coffee. Everything was fine until I heard it, a faint tapping sound coming from the back door. At first, I ignored it. Probably just the wind or maybe a branch brushing against the glass. But then it happened again, louder this time. I paused, my heart beating a little faster. Grabbing my phone, I walked toward the door, switching on the porch light. Nothing. I locked the door, double-checked it, and went back to the couch, trying to focus on my work. But I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that someone or something was out there. A few minutes later, I heard the sound again. This time, it wasn't tapping. It was a soft scratching, like fingernails against the glass. My stomach dropped. I tiptoed to the door again, trying to stay calm. Peeking through the curtain, I saw nothing. Just the empty backyard illuminated by the porch light. But as I turned to walk away, I caught it, a shadow, moving across the yard. My pulse quickened. I turned off the lights inside, hoping whoever or whatever it was wouldn't see me. I called my best friend, whispering into the phone as I crouched by the window. "Someone's outside," I told her. She urged me to call the police, but I hesitated, thinking I might be overreacting. And then I heard it. The unmistakable sound of the doorknob jiggling. I froze, every muscle in my body tensing. The handle rattled again, harder this time, followed by a low, muffled voice. "Let me in." My hands were shaking as I dialed 911. The operator stayed on the line, telling me to stay hidden and quiet until help arrived. But then, the noise stopped. I heard heavy footsteps retreating into the yard. Moments later, the porch light flickered off. I clamped my hand over my mouth to keep from screaming. The house was completely dark now, and the only sound was my own breathing. Minutes felt like hours, until I finally saw the flashing red and blue lights of a police car outside. The officers searched the property and found footprints leading from the back door to the edge of the woods behind the house. They also found scratches on the glass, deep, deliberate marks. But the scariest part, they found a note wedged under the back door. It read, "You were lucky this time." Being home alone can be peaceful or horrifying. This story proves that you're never truly alone. Have you ever experienced something strange while home alone? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And if you want more chills, check out my next video about 3 true college scary stories. Trust me, it's just as terrifying.